Ashe, greetings and goodwill to you all once again, my natural native earthly humans the world over. You don't know that this is yours truly, I, the Mystic Philosopher. And welcome to part 17, the continuation of my series of talks titled, Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, the land of people of integrity, be set free? Now, if you haven't yet watched or listened to part 1 through to part 16, I ask that you please do so before going forward with this part 17, or that you please do so at your earliest convenience. By doing so, you may learn something. You may be reminded of something or about something, or at the very least, you may get something to think about, something to provoke your thoughts. And please note that I did not say that by listening to yours truly, you will learn something, but that you may learn something. The truth be told, these talks are definitely not for everyone, because, to quote the late Dale Carnegie again, who said, those convinced against their will are of the same opinion still, unquote. And for the record, I am not a con, and neither am I trying to convert or to convince or con anyone. Not at all. I am just sharing another perspective on a lot of things, and hopefully, as mentioned before, provoke you to maybe see things a little differently and think about a lot of things a little differently. Now, one of you, my listeners, asked me to please answer and explain the following 3 questions. Question 1, how did I, the Mystic Philosopher, came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Adamic race is the imperialist and colonizer's race of humankind? Question number 2, how did I came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Christian Holy Bible is the imperialist and colonizer's history and holy book? And question number 3, how did I came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Western religion called Christianity is the imperialist and colonizer's religion? Now, first let me quickly answer question number 2 and question number 3 first, and then spend some more time answering question number 1. So I'm starting in reverse pretty much, and I ask that you be patient with me. This one is gonna go a little bit over time because I don't want to rush it. I tend to lose when I rush things, but I ask again, for those of you who will, please be a little patient with me as I lay out this one so that you can understand what I'm conveying or what I'm bringing across. So let's start with question number 2. How did I came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Christian Holy Bible is the imperialist and colonizers, remember it's not my language, colonizers' history and holy book? And my quick answer to that question is this: it is simply because one of the most cruel, deadly, and abominable imperialist humankind that has ever lived and that our planet and Mother Earth has ever known authorized it, and his name and seal of approval is still written on it, and it cannot be erased, and it is still the most popular and the most read book of its kind in Christendom. to this day. And it's the King James Bible, commonly called King James Version. Question number 3, how did I came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Western religion called Christianity is the imperialist and colonizers' religion? And my summary answer to this question is as follows. It is because their inherent and predisposed philosophy and mission were and are imperialism and colonialism, which, as you shall shortly see and learn, are to conquer, to subdue, to convert, to colonize, and to exploit foreign lands and their inhabitants, their peoples. Why? For their God, their king or queen, and for their country, their homeland. And their inspiration, their motivation, and religion is Christianity. Question number 1. Now to question number 1. How did I, the mystic philosopher, came to the knowledge, understanding, and conclusion that the Adamic race is the imperialist and colonizers' race of humankind? And my simple answer to that question is this. It is by their fruits. That's how I know them. Meaning it is by their behavior and characteristics. It is by their past, their present, which is indicative of their future. That is how I, the mystic philosopher, know them. And I also use what is called the duck test to help me identify them. And the duck test never fails. The duck test go like this. If it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it is probably a duck. It is a duck. Therefore, if they look like imperialists, talk like imperialists, move like an imperialist, walk like imperialists, and behave like imperialists, if it exhibits all the other known and unknown characteristics of imperialism, then they are imperialists. Now, before I even continue to answer your question and show you more proof as to how I came to the knowledge and understanding that the Adamic race of humankind is indeed the imperialist and colonizers' race of humankind, let me define and answer the following 5 questions for you, so that we may all be on one accord, knowing and understanding what we are all talking about. Number 1, who is an imperialist? Question number 2, what is imperialism? Question number 3, what is a colonist? Or what is a colonist? Or who is a colonist? Question number 4, what is colonialism? And question number 5, who is a colonizer? 1, who is an imperialist? An imperialist is one who believes, advocates, and practices the philosophy and religion, rather the philosophy and ideology of imperialism. Number 2, what is imperialism? Now, according to Britannica, at Britannica.com, and I quote, imperialism is state policy, practice, or advocacy of extending power and domination, especially by direct territorial acquisition or by gaining political and economic control of other areas. It continues, because it always involves use of power, whether military or economic, or some subtler form, imperialism has been considered morally reprehensible. And the term is frequently employed in international propaganda to denounce and discredit an opponent's foreign policy, unquote. I ask that you please pay very close attention to this portion of this Britannica definition. Quote, because it meaning imperialism, always involves the use of power, whether military or economic, or some subtler form of power. Imperialism has often been considered as morally reprehensible, unquote. Now, morally reprehensible basically means that it is evil and thus deserving strong criticism, strong condemnation due to its violation of moral principles and violation of our natural native earthly human rights and human dignity. Question number 3. Who is a colonist? A colonist is one who believes, advocates, and practices the philosophy and ideology of colonialism. And number 4, what is colonialism? Colonialism, by meaning and definition, is the domination of a people or area by a foreign state or nation, or the policy of acquiring and retaining colonies. And question number 5, who is a colonizer? A colonizer is a country that sends settlers to a place and establishes political control over it. That's a colonizer. Now, according to Robert Longley, according to the author Robert Longley, in an article posted on a website called thoughtco.com, and I quote, colonialism is the practice of one country taking full or partial control of another country and acquiring it, and occupying it with settlers to profit from its resources and economy. Colonialism can be hard to distinguish from imperialism, since both practices involved political and economic control of a dominant country over a vulnerable territory, unquote. And that is why in my previous episodes I told you that imperialism is equal to colonialism, which is equal to demonism, which is equal to devilism. Or to summarize it, imperialism is unadulterated wickedness, morally reprehensible. And that I told you that there is absolutely no one that is involved with, no one that was or is involved with the practice of those ideologies that is good. And that there is nothing about imperialism equal colonialism, which is equal to demonism, which is equal to devilism, that is good. Full stop. It cannot be sanitized, and if you try, you're going to fail and you'll suffer the consequences. But we'll get into that later. And to offer some more evidence, I will quote directly from the Adamic Race History and Holy Book, the Imperialists and Colonizers History and Holy Book, also known as the Christian Holy Bible itself. I'm going to quote from it itself. The first book, called Genesis, presents the beginning and creation of the Adamic race of humankind, their genes and their genealogy. Now, please note, not the beginning of either Mystic Philosophers, natural native earthly human, natural earthly race of humans, not at all. For as I have mentioned to you before, that before Adam was, I am. We, the natural native earthly race of humans, were, we are, and we shall forever be. We are the pre-Adam, aka the pre-Adamic humans. But I said the beginning of the Johnny come lately Adamic race of humankind, aka mankind and womankind, a kind of activated common sense alone will affirm that the Adamic God, or if you prefer the Adamic Elohim, or whomever wrote these scriptures, could not have honestly claimed to create or make something or someone that was already here. Now, Genesis 1 to verse 28, and I quote, "Then God said," meaning the Adamic God, or more correctly, the Adamic Elohim, said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over the creatures that move along the ground. Unquote. Now, I have just given you the meaning and definition of colonialism. Colonist, colonizer, imperialism, and imperialist. That's why I gave you the definition before. Now, with that knowledge, and you can go back and check it yourself, with that knowledge, understanding, and overstanding, please ask and answer yourself this question. Which God, what God, or whose God that would create or make something or someone, a humankind, in his or her or its image, its own image, for it or for them to, quote, rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground, if not an imperialist God, a colonizer God? Ask yourself, please. Verse 27, let me continue. So God created mankind in his own image. He could not have created man because my ancestors were here before this creation started, his new creation started. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Unquote. I rest my case. If this not an imperialist, then think about it. I've run out of time, so please join me. I will get into this some more at another time. So please join me in part 18 for the continuation of Can Africa Be Set Free? Can Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, be set free? In the meantime and between time, here is willing that you be more and more and much, much more, and definitely not be less. My people, let no one be less you, for I am the Mystic Philosopher. Ashe, 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 I say.